Hi, this is David here, and we are going to do the first segment in our videos about making money in Path of Exile without playing the game. So, for this video, we're going to talk about prophecies. Some prophecies can be worth a ton of currency. So, for example, is Monstrous Treasure. This is the classic one. And if you were newer to the game, you might get this prophecy and think, okay, this is just a fun prophecy, I should go do this. But as you can see, if you seal it for a few silver coins, you can sell it for 20 chaos. So what I like to do when I see a new prophecy I haven't seen before that seems like it could be interesting, I look it up. So, Bloody Flowers. You will defeat the gemlings while wearing Ezimite Peak. So we're going to go check and see what does this go for. Okay, this is a couple chaos for this first one, but then it goes up 9, 20 chaos. So that's really interesting, although these are pretty old. So this is for the race, which has kind of a weird economy. So let's go see what this sells for in Legacy. Looks like about an Alk. And then we can look up, hey, what does this thing even do? And we just go right to the wiki, and it tells you that the reward is upgrading the peak to the hold. So let's go check out what those two things cost. So peak, about an Alk, it looks like, and the hold is worth anywhere between 3 and 10, 12 chaos goes up from there. So, and it looks like it has to do with this life roll. So what we can determine here is that for an Alk or a chaos for the prophecy that we could have sold, let's say 1 chaos, and let's say another chaos for the peak helm, we might be able to make a few chaos back for the hold helm. Right, I mean, in the race, we might be making 10 chaos plus. So this is all listed a few days ago. So let's say we put it up there for 10 chaos and way undercut, we made an 8 chaos profit. So the first thing we need to do, since I don't have this this hat, is to go buy one. Oh, sorry. Go buy the peak. So let's go see if this guy is online. Nope. So we move up the price tier until we find somebody who is down to sell it to us. There's that one chance. I like to just pull the stuff out first. Makes trading a little bit easier. There we go. And the reason that the upgraded version is so much more expensive is that it adds cannot be stunned, which is, especially for ES builds, super valuable. Even though other than that, it's a pretty crappy helm for ES. So now we can take our peak hat and we can put it on. Put it on. And let's go check out this prophecy again. So, Gemling Legionnaires in the Warehouse District. And this is a merciless one, so let's go to the Warehouse District. And wait for that prophecy to proc. So we gotta go from the sewers here. Having some serious frame rate problems. If I die in the sewers here, it'll be pretty bad. Oh. And that is why my attribute requirements are no longer met, because I'm missing dexterity. So, and intelligence. So let's just pull off the gems that need it. It's a pretty low level area. Okay, now I should be able to actually attack. So let's go back. And where are you guys?
Return to the dirt.
And head on up to the warehouse. I'll need all these flasks. One thing to always consider when you are trying to make currency with these kind of weird schemes is how long it takes to pull off. So that's why I'm showing this kind of boring part in the video. Is if it takes me an hour to make chaos, maybe I could do a better job just in maps, right? So that's no longer actually an efficient way to make currency. My frame rate is better. I might actually kill some of these beyond people, but another thing to be thinking about is the time value of your investment. So this is actually pretty cheap, right? It just cost me an alch because I already have that prophecy. And if I put the prophecy up for sale, it might be a few days until I find a buyer. But it also might be a few days until I find a buyer for my upgraded helm. So it might be worse than 10 chaos and however long it takes me to find the warehouse and the legionnaires, because I can't just spend that 10 chaos right away. And of course there's a risk that I'll never actually find a buyer, or I'll have to reduce the price even more. Nonetheless, I think this is a pretty good example of how prophecies can be underpriced because people don't put in the work to see what's the reward for it. And you can see the prophecy has proc here. So somewhere in here I will find gemlings, and maybe a couple fantasy things while we're at it. Another just tip I learned the hard way is always bring Brandis coins into the lab. I found a Catero with a staff worth 15 chaos for only about 5 chaos worth of coins. But I didn't have the coins on me, so I had to go to Aspen's trial area, get it from my stash, and head back 3 zones just to get Catero again. So I'm not actually sure where these guys are, and this is the problem with running prophecies for the first time. And it may be that there isn't some standard location. I suppose we could have looked that up. Good place for that is Reddit. The wiki isn't always very thorough. It's usually pretty accurate, but it sometimes is missing some important details for stuff like this. I have a kind of random guess that they're going to be by the unique mobs towards the end of the zone. And this would be going a lot faster again if it wasn't Brandis, if I had the frame rate so I could actually just skip some of these mobs if I was using mine. Full 5, Quicksilvers, etc. Also, for my next video, I'm not going to do anything besides the main objective. It's probably not super fun to watch me get a few dozen Brandis coins at a time. Legionnaires. really kind of hoping it would be right around here. Another thing to consider is that sometimes prophecies require some more setup than this. This is a really binary reward. But for something like Monstrous Treasure, there's a lot you can do to maximize the value of that prophecy. Right? You can be sextanting up your maps, running really high item quantity mods on those maps, wearing Magic Find gear, and the price for something like that on Theory that trade is going to be baking that stuff in, right? It's going to be the price that somebody who can do all the setup is willing to pay. So unless you are in a position where you can do all that setup, it's usually not going to be valuable for you to just run those. Although I do recommend that everybody does Monstrous Treasure at least once because it's super fun if you can spare the chaos. So here, even though I am killing these Lupulins, I'm not getting a lot of XP because it's a super low zone. So a lot of this is just wasted time. But now, no. Because some of these prophecies are for sale, if I can actually get this thing down to a reasonable amount of invested time. And there you go.
Ezomite banners flutter through the air as embellished
and it
monsters
can actually be a
fall.
repeatable process where I just buy up a few of these prophecies and oh, look at that. My thing has now been upgraded to a 15 chaos item. So we'll just go list it. We'll put it at 10. Try and get this thing to sell a little bit more quickly because the league's about to end. But even with that, we turned a little less than 2 chaos into 10 chaos. Yeah, theoretically, if it sells. So that is pretty good. And that's it for this video.